What's up, everybody, and welcome to the TNR Sports Show or Trennon Talks. Please like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever we post. Thanks for watching. Jimbo Fisher got up to the podium yesterday and said, when asked about Texas and Oklahoma joining the conference, he said, "I bet they would." Texas A&M's athletic director said he does not want to see Texas in the SEC and for obvious reasons. Before we get into deep context, the SEC, Texas A&M is irrelevant with Texas in the conference. The only reason, let me break this down for every single person listening to this podcast right now. Texas A&M is only good because of the fact that they're from Texas and they're in the SEC. Make no mistake. Go back in history and look. Arkansas has been on like an 8-game losing streak to Texas A&M. We still own the series for like 15 games. They've always been bad. And as soon as Texas enters this conference, they will be bad again. That is a fact. Yeah. A cold, hard fact. Here's the next thing. Oklahoma. I'm just going to break down the facts, Ryan. You can enter in.
Go for it, yeah.
The SEC did not deny these reports. The SEC network posted a possible bracket for all the teams to play, and I will be reading it near the end of this episode because it was awesome. I would kill for that. I love their bracket. The Big 12 discussed today, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, that they are aware that Texas and Oklahoma have reached out. That is, at this point, is a fact.
It's a known fact.
It is not rumor. It is not a question. It is not, well, I wonder. There is no wondering anymore. They have reached out. There is a reason this story broke during SEC Media Days. It's awesome reason. What an awesome time to break the story. Regardless of that, this is a fact. Texas and Oklahoma have reached out to the SEC. The SEC didn't deny it. The SEC News Channel is making theory about it. And the Big 12 had a discussion without Texas and Oklahoma there on what is going on.
Yep.
Ryan, go.
So there's a lot to break down in this. There's been a lot of strife between Oklahoma and Texas and the Big 12 for years. Texas wanted to leave back in 2010 to go to the Pac-12. Yeah, right. And they wanted to take a bunch of teams with them, one of which was Texas A&M, and then Texas A&M said, "Screw you, I'm going to the SEC." And then that's kind of when all that fell apart. And there's so much that could happen just because of this move. I've been hearing for so long about how Oklahoma wants out. They want out of the Big 12. There's just nothing left there. I've heard them trying to get to the Big 10. I've heard them trying to go to the Pac-12. I've now heard them trying to get into the SEC. Of all the rumors, going to the SEC seems to be the most legit.
Absolutely.
And oh my gosh, it's
Texas A&M. It is legit.
It's legit.
It's true. It's just a fact. Like I said,
we don't know if it's going to happen, but it is.
But they have reached out.
They have reached out. They are in communications. Apparently, Texas A&M broke the news. They were the ones. They were awesome. The ones who leaked the information to a journalist at the Houston Chronicle because they were so pissed off that Texas may be joining the SEC. They are so mad that this is happening. That's how all this broke, because of Texas A&M. Awesome. So, and there's so much to break down because if Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12 crumbles, and there's going to be a free-for-all for all those teams between the Pac-12, the Big 10, and the ACC. They're all going to try and grab those teams. There's even talks, as we mentioned before, that if this happens, all these other teams are going to try and make super leagues of their own, because this would make the SEC the super league. I mean, they're already kind of a super league. Exactly. This would make it beyond, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no question that beyond time, this is the super league. And so because of that, now it looks like the ACC is really pushing for Notre Dame to become a football member. And if the Big 12 falls apart, all these teams are going to start allocating out. It's going to be a Power 4 conference. There was even a mention of a Power 3. I don't think that's going to happen, but whatever. It's going to be chaos if this happens. Oklahoma and Texas have both said, for varying reasons of their discomfort and their upsetness against the Big 12. Oklahoma, I think, has a bit more reason. I think Texas acting like a bit of a drama queen, if I'm being honest. It's just Texas, whatever. Um, Oklahoma, I even have, obviously, they're, both team schools would make a ton of more money in the SEC. But I have a list here of certain other reasons beyond money about why they would want to leave. And it's better kickoff times. Oklahoma was very upset that the Nebraska game that's coming up this upcoming year, which was supposed to be a 50th anniversary of the game of the century against Nebraska, was going to be played at noon, which is stupid. So better kick times, more recruiting pipelines. Now you get to, branch out to Alabama, Florida, Georgia, etc. Larger recruiting talent base, better competition. And if you look at the Big 12, there's some teams that come out, but it's not the SEC. More varied competition. It's only 10 teams in the Big 12 if you include Oklahoma and Texas. It's not even 12 teams, which is stupid. Media and narrative benefits, it's more money. Wider net for name, image, and likeness money. So you can recruit your players and say, hey, you're going to make more money if you come to Oklahoma or Texas when we're in the SEC. The region is more popular in the Southeast. I don't know if I believe that. I think it's pretty close. I thought this was kind of funny. We don't have to go to Morgantown anymore, which is West Virginia. And then Texas would be able to have that rivalry with Texas A&M, which, if this happens, will be just full blown hate. I love it. There are so many things we could probably talk about this for an hour or 2 hours. Honestly, if me and
It's a
Trent,
big story.
it's huge.
It's crazy that it came in the middle of this big week.
Yeah.
I was sitting here in June thinking, oh my God, what are we going to talk about? I have now realized that we have way more to talk about when there's nothing going on.
It's insane.
I think you brought up 2 good points there. We had discussed, the Nebraska Fox is such a rigged organization. It's stupid that you have a game as big as Oklahoma, Nebraska, and you have it at 1 p.m. or 12 p.m.
12 here Eastern time.
11 a.m.
11 Central.
That's terrible.
Yep.
Whoever schedules that crap should have a stern talking to. That's just terrible scheduling.
Yeah.
Shame on Fox. Oklahoma and Texas are big programs.
Big.
The Big 12 is a dying organization. We all know it.
It's been taking time on.
Oklahoma has won it how many years in a row?
I think it's 6.
Who won it before that? Texas?
No. It would have been TCU or Kansas State. Maybe Baylor even. I don't know.
Eesh.
One of those 3.
But there's no hope to it. I'm not saying the teams in the Big 12 are bad, but when you're as big and powerful as Oklahoma and Texas are, you need to go to a conference that is going to help you succeed and be more sustainable. Right now, they're not making enough money. And I think that's probably what it boils down to. Competition is great and everything, all that is good. But at the end of the day, you're going to want to be in a conference that's going to make you the most amount of money. The Big 12 is just not doing that in any sport, really. They don't win a lot of championships. Texas and Oklahoma are the flagship schools in every sport, other than basketball. But even then, Kansas isn't what they used to be.
No.
So you sit here and you're wondering, Texas and Oklahoma, do they fit in the SEC? I want to read you this tweet, Ryan. It's a tweet from the SEC network, as I mentioned in my previous monologue about this. I want to read you this tweet if I can find it. All right, here we go. 4-team pods. What do you think about this? Pod A would be Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, and South Carolina. Oh my God, brutal pod. Oh my Lord, sorry about that, y'all. My big old elbows. Pod B would be Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Yeesh, what a gross pod. Pod C would be LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M.
Oof.
And then Pod D would be Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. And then it would be a 9-game conference schedule format. Play the other 3 teams in your pod every season. Play 2 games against each of the other pods. Host every team at least once every 4 seasons.
That'd be an interesting take. I think when you go, because if this happens,
I guess the top 2 would make the.
well, so here's the thing.
Would you have 2-game SEC championship game?
That's what I was thinking, because I was driving home today from work, and I was thinking this is the first time that any conference in history has ever had 16 teams. That's a lot. Do you just have 2 at the end? I mean, if you're having a pot, like we're saying, four pots, you got semifinals. You have the winner of each pot goes to a semifinal.
Unless you take the winner that has the 2 best records. So
Good,
Pod A and Pod D have better records than.
what's the point of the pots then?
You gotta win. I don't know.
I think. I mean, this is just me
Tough.
speculating. I'm not in the SEC. Whatever.
Oh, you will be.
I will be. And there's.
Then we'll be 2 SEC guys. We can turn this as an SEC podcast. How exciting will that be?
SEC.
Instead of it just be me.
I was
too.
reading this tweet from his insider, and they said that he was calling everybody, all his like little insider contacts, or whatever. And he was saying it's no longer a matter of if, but when. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And I think that's true. I think it's more of a when. When is this going to happen? I think it's 2025 is when the TV deals start breaking up. This is when it's going to happen, 2025.
I could see it happening in 2022, 2023, 24.
I think so.
Not 22. I would say 3, 4, 5.
Because Oklahoma and Texas are contractually obligated to the Big 12 in terms of TV until 2025.
Wow.
So this probably wouldn't happen until 2025. They said if, and this is an if Oklahoma and Texas left next season, they could theoretically do so. However, SEC Network would not be able to cover the games. And I'm not really sure where that would leave everything. Because, say if Texas is playing Alabama, obviously Bama wants to be an SEC Network, and then Texas wants to be a Longhorn Network. Where are we going?
That Longhorn Network will go away.
It'll have to go away. And I'm pretty sure they're owned by the same company. I think SEC Network is owned by ESPN, and I know Longhorn Network is owned by ESPN.
Yeah, you would have to get rid of the Longhorn Network.
They'll probably figure something out. I'm sure ESPN will be like, hey, yeah, we'll make a ton more money no matter what. But I do think if you go 4 pots, you got to do semifinals to the SEC championship game. Otherwise, you could do, and I was kind of thinking about it as well, you could do, you could move Bama and Auburn over to the East, which I know everyone will probably hate. I'm not really crazy about it either. And Oklahoma and Texas into the West to replace them, which kind of makes the West more of a Big 8 kind of Southwest Conference combo with Missouri, Arkansas, A&M, whatever.
That's what I want back, the Southwest Conference.
And then you have like I don't think it's out of the region of having 10 conference games. And then you play your first game of the season. You make it.
No, they're against that. Most of the SEC guys are against that. I mean, they hated it last year.
I know. You'll lose your big.
Kirby Smart hated it. He was like, God, that was terrible. All my players got hurt. I don't know, man. The SEC is different from the other conferences, dude.
That's what I think.
Each other alive,
man. I think that would make a lot of sense. But, I guess we're just 2 idiots talking.
No, I'm really smart.
You are smart. You graduated college. Good job. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much to unpack here. I think this is going to happen.
I do as well.
As an Oklahoma fan,
I'm impatient. That's going to really make me mad. I have to wait till I'm 30 years old to watch it, but whatever.
As an Oklahoma fan, I've really been thinking about, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What do I think about this? And I don't know. What I really want to happen is I want Oklahoma and Texas to stay in their own conference in the Big 12.
Not going to happen.
Then what I would want is the Big 12.
They're going to leave one way or another.
They're going to leave. I have no doubt about that. But what I want them to stay and the Big 12 expand because they need to expand. It's bad.
Yeah, they need to get like SMU and Houston in there.
I don't know if
And
they
maybe
need that.
even Boise State.
I think they need to go after BYU. That's a big one. You gotta go after
Gross.
Houston. I think West Virginia leaves no matter what. West Virginia's gone.
Where are they
Uh,
going?
Probably the ACC.
You think the ACC is going to accept them? They already denied them once.
I think they'll take them this time. They'll go to the ACC or the American.
Ooh,
Um,
poor West Virginia. They would fall into Maddie Revelins then. Oof.
I think if you lose West Virginia, you should go after an Arizona school. Try and poach for the Big 12 or Pac-12. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC, and I don't know how I feel about it. On the one hand, I think it'll be incredibly fascinating to see Oklahoma and Texas play Bama, LSU, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, whoever. Um, but it also kind of takes them. It scares me to where it puts those two programs. Obviously, they're both wealthy, powerful programs that won't,
I
and
think they'll
then
be
they'll
okay.
challenge for titles. Obviously, I mean, but it won't be on the scale that they are right now. You know what I mean?
Oh
Uh,
my God. Don't be a weenie. What are you
I mean,
talking about? Are you
I
scared of
don't
us?
a
You
little bit,
scared of
yeah,
the SEC?
a little bit.
Yeah, you
Um,
should
I,
be. You're not going to be
I
playing
don't,
Kansas every year. You're going to be playing Vanderbilt.
I don't. Oh, that was better. I don't mind that.
That was the point of the joke.
I don't mind the challenge of having them go to the SEC, and I don't mind not winning a Big 12 title. I mean, right now it's just kind of we won the Big 12 title. Okay, whatever. Um, I think for Oklahoma specifically to take a step up into winning playoff games, I think that's the step in the right direction if everything plays out right for Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a scary. It's like, do I like this? Do I not like this? How's this going to work out?
I
What about
understand.
you, as an Arkansas SEC fan? What are your thoughts? Final thoughts. What do you think of them coming over?
What do I think? I think a lot of old people in Arkansas like it. I think I don't know what to think, really, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't think it impacts us that much. People are talking to kick Arkansas out. Everybody. Here's what I think. I think
Well,
people who hate on Arkansas because they've had a couple bad years in football can go suck it. Because Arkansas has more SEC titles this year in other sports than the next closest person combined. So you can suck it. Um, Arkansas is a dominant force in the SEC. We win most of the sports. We haven't been that great in football. That's a fact. Do I think that might change this year? Yes. Um, the fact of the matter is, Oklahoma and Texas joining the conference is a big deal. It would be a big deal in the landscape of college football. It would be a big deal in the landscape of everything. But as of right now, from what I understand from you, it doesn't seem like that's still a couple years off. And I think there's plenty of time for the Big 12 to recap and be like, what the heck? We need to figure this out. And at the end of the day, do I think it's going to happen? No. It might, but I doubt it.
I doubt
I
it.
think the Big 12 will rally and be like, what do you want? How do you want it? What do we have to do? And they'll kick West Virginia out if that's that big of a deal. And, they need to be on brand. They need to be a better conference. There's just no doubt. You can't, first of all, they need 12 teams. That's their first problem.
Yeah,
You can't be the Big 12 without 12 teams. It's crazy.
yeah, that's dumb.
Um, and they just need to support Oklahoma and Texas better. I do. That's what I believe.
I believe that too. I mean, if you look at the current college landscape, the only thing you can do is just kind of take teams away from other conferences, which isn't going to happen. So I do think that this is going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see how it happens. See what happens.
Well, that's it. That's the end of the TNR show. Oh my God, that was a loaded episode. I appreciate if you fought with us till the end. That was a good one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Ryan, any final thoughts about anything?
Oh gosh, I have a lot more thoughts, but it would take a very long time to get through them. So
We'll be back next
We'll talk later.
week for the end of season 1. I bet you didn't even know we were doing seasons. We are. Next week we'll be back for the end of season 1. We'll do a little Big 10, little Pac-12, not much. And then we'll do a little recruiting, maybe a little more of this. I'll explain the future. Maybe I won't. We'll see what happens. And then we'll be back for season 2. So in season 1, I look forward to it. I will talk to y'all next week. Thank you for everybody for liking, subscribing, following, yada, 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 sharing with your friends, the whole 9 shebang. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Ooh, pig, baby.
Boomer sooner.
Bye.